Thank you very, very much. The House will come to order. The pledge will be led by Sherry Fant, Lance Williams, Kathleen Wiecamp, and Bibu Herman from Charis Bible College, Woodland Park, guests of Representative Mark Baisley.
Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
America,
We love you.
Mr. Shebel, please call the roll.
Representatives Amabile, Bacon, Baisley, Benavidez, Representative Benavidez is excused. Burnett, Byrd, Bockenfeld, Basenecker, Bradfield, Caraveo, Representative Caraveo is excused. Carver, Catlin, Cutter, Doherty is present. Duran, Esgar, Exum, Froelich, Representative Froelich. Rep. Froelich is here. Geithner, Gonzalez Gutierrez, Gray, Hanks, Herod. No, Herod represent is on the wall. Holtorf, Hooton, Representative Hooton is excused. Judah, Kennedy, Representative Kennedy, no, is excused. Kipp, Larson, Lindsay, Lontine, Luck is excused. Lynch, McCluskey, McCormick, McKean, McLaughlin, Michelson Janae,
present.
Mullica, Neville, Ortiz, Pelton, Pico, Ransom, Rich, Ricks is present. Roberts, Sandridge, Sirota, Snyder, Soper,
Here.
Sullivan, Tipper, Representative Tipper is excused. Titone, Valdez A, Valdez D, Van Beber, Van Winkle, Weissman, Will, Williams,
Here.
Woodrow is excused. Woog, Young, and Mr. Speaker.
Today's the day. Today's the day. It's going to happen. The 12th?
With 60 present and 5 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Basenecker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think today's the day. The sun is shining. It's beautiful outside. So I would just like to move that the Journal of Tuesday, April 12th, 2022 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Representative Basenecker. That was a great motion. And members, the motion before you is the approval of the Journal as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. I'm looking up to the gallery. The gallery clearly agrees with me that the ayes have it and the motion's approved. Announcements and introductions. Representative Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, members. This is an announcement about the work of the Judiciary Committee today. Get ready for it. We have 6 bills on our agenda at 1:30 in the Old State Library, aka the big room that way. We will hear House Concurrent Resolution 1005. We will then bring back House Bill 1326 for action only. We will then proceed to House Bills 1353 and 1319 and round out with Senate Bill 1 and Senate Bill 49. See you at 1:30. Thank you.
Representative Wantine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Health and Insurance. We are meeting this afternoon at 1:30 in room 112. We're hearing House Bill 1284, 1285, and House Bill 1325. We will not be hearing House Bill 1293 today. I'm moving that to next Wednesday on 420 Day. So yay. See y'all there.
Representative Judah and Representative Mollica.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, we want to welcome the Sikh community of Colorado at the Capitol. There are a good number of the Sikhs in the gallery, and we had the honor of hearing their prayer this morning. Please stand if you're in the gallery. So tomorrow, April 14th, is the Sikh holiday of Vaisakhi, and it marks the day to celebrate when the Sikhism was born as a collective faith in 1699. And this morning we began with a Sikh prayer known as the Adras, and Sikhs originate from the Punjab region of northern India and represent the 5th largest religion in the world. Currently, there are more than 30 million Sikhs around the world who celebrate Vaisakhi every year, and the Sikh community of Colorado is proud to help this wonderful cultural celebration in the people's capital. They hope this event will be a great educational opportunity for the Colorado community to better understand their culture, religion, and people.
Representative Mollica.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today at noon, the Sikh community arranged for lunch for all the members in the Capitol, also traditionally known as langar, known as a community kitchen open to all, no matter what their faith, gender, age, or status is, and it is offered by every single Gurudwara in the world. They have 3 temples known as Gurudwara in the Colorado, including the largest one in Commerce City near Denver International Airport. Please come and join today. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, members, and welcome to the Capitol. Representative Tatone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, today is Tech Day at the Capitol. If you go down to the first floor, you'll see the tech folks down there, and I just wanted to read a proclamation from the governor in his proclamation for Tech Day. So whereas the state of Colorado has emerged as a tech hub between the coasts, and whereas the startups of major technology companies, nearly 11,000 technologies and information companies are located in Colorado. And whereas a new tech company is launched on average every 72 hours in Colorado, and whereas Colorado's tech sector has a direct impact on $54 billion, or 15% of the state economy, making it the 12th largest tech industry nationally and the nation's 4th largest as a percentage of state economy at large. And whereas Colorado has the third highest concentration of tech workers in the country, and
Representative Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whereas Colorado's 146,000 technology and information jobs provide Coloradans competitive salaries compared to the average private sector worker, and whereas at the end of 2020, net tech employment in Colorado stood at 313,260,000 workers, 10.8% of Colorado's overall workforce, and the 15th highest total among all states, and whereas Denver ranks in the top 10 cities for technology startups, and whereas state agencies like the Governor's Office of Information Technology and the Office of Economic Development and International Trades, along with industry organizations like Colorado Technology Association, support and promote the industry through collaborative programs, events, and initiatives. Do you care to wrap it up?
And therefore, Jared Polis, Governor of the State of Colorado, does hereby proclaim April 13th, 2022 as Tech Day in Colorado. So go down and check out and visit the tech people downstairs on the first floor when you have a chance. So thanks very much, everyone.
Representative Ransman, Representative D. Valdez.
Do you want to go first?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor to be here with you. Members,
Honored to be here with you too, Representative D. Valdez.
Members, on Thursday, Aerospace and Defense Caucus lunch is happening, and we want to invite you, your aides, come and visit with us, talk about the industry, the education, the economic development happening in aerospace and defense. But please, RSVP, we did leave a notification on your desk, so please email and let us know how many are coming.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And folks, this is the last luncheon of this year. So please do try to come. If you haven't been before, please try to stop in. We will have industry representatives there talking about Aerospace Colorado, which is the new branding campaign that they've been working on to try to build up the industry and talent development. This is a really fun lunch, you guys. You know what I've always said, this is your chance to let your inner astronaut come out and have fun and learn a lot about what we're doing in the aerospace industry. The lunch will be tomorrow. Again, this is tomorrow, so please check your email today or find this notice on your desk. This is tomorrow. It is the last one of the year. It will be across the street in the Legislative Services Building, in the SSB, in the State Services Building, in the 6th floor conference room at 11:30. But please do RSVP. We want to make sure we have enough lunches for everybody. Again, thank you very much, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, members. Representative McLaughlin, Kipp, and Basenecker. Oh, Representative McLaughlin first.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Education Committee, we have meetings today and we have meetings tomorrow, and the calendar is correct. I'll see you there. Thanks.
Representative Kipp and Basenecker.
Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We would like to just welcome the Liberty Common High School graduating class of 2022 who are here with us today. If you could stand for us. They're en route is what we hear. Okay. All right. Well, they are always busy and always on the move, but we did want to congratulate them for all of their hard work this academic year and for the past 3 years.
And thank them for being here, which hopefully they will be soon.
Thank you, members. Further announcements and introductions. Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Transportation and Local Government, we have a busy afternoon. House Bill 1356, Representative Harrod and Hooten, and we're doing action only on House Bill 1137, Representative Rickson Bradfield, and House Bill 1301 with Representative Soper and Roberts, and LSB.
Representative A. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Energy and Environment, we will be meeting today to hear 3 bills, 1140 for action only, Senate Bill 7 and 1355 for action only. We will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in LSBA. We'll see you there.
Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, we will have Appropriations Committee tomorrow morning at 8:30. The bills are printed in the calendar. See you there.
Thank you, Representative Harrod. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues. I have some bad news from my district in House District 64.
Members, please direct your attention to the well. Representative Holtorf.
The threat of wildfire is real in Colorado, and it has now hit home in Bent County, one of my 9 counties.
1 second, Representative Holtorf. Members, please direct your attention to the well. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I was saying to my colleagues, the threat of wildfires has now hit home in House District 64. Over 3,000 or near 3,000 acres has burned in Bent County. And last night or yesterday afternoon, Fort Lyons was evacuated. The fire was contained and redirected. So the residents have returned to Fort Lyons. I will tell you that 2 homes have burned. Nobody has passed away. The state of Colorado now is taking over as the incident commander. The red flag warnings and the high winds are not helping our situation. John Martin Reservoir, the sloughs and all that are burning. So this is serious consideration, and I just implore all of my colleagues here that we need to continue to invest as much as possible as we can in fire mitigation, fire control. It is so important. Thankfully, in my district, we are very remote and very sparsely populated, because if we were not, this could be very similar to the Marshall fires. Let's just do everything we can to help with fire mitigation in Colorado, because we're still in a drought in eastern Colorado. We desperately need rain, and many places are not getting it. And it's a problem, and I think we're going to continue to have challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Holtorf. Majority Leader Eskar.
Thank you, Representative Holtorf, for bringing that up. I wanted to just take a moment. There have been 2 fires in my district in the last week. And I just want to take a moment to thank the Pueblo Fire Department. There was a wildfire that broke out near our Arkansas River. An entire animal shelter and an entire neighborhood of homes needed to be evacuated. That fire was put down relatively quickly without causing much damage, so thank you to them. But also in Beulah. You all may remember 4 or 5 years ago, there was a pretty catastrophic fire that happened in Beulah, which is also in my district, that burned several homes. Just yesterday morning, another fire broke out, but to the amazing work of the Beulah Fire Department, the City of Pueblo Fire, Pueblo West Fire, West Park Fire, Pueblo County Sheriff's Office, and Pueblo AMR all coming together, we were able to protect homes and get that fire put down as well. So thank you, Representative Holtorf, for bringing this up, but also I just wanted to take a moment to thank those who are always on the front lines and willing to volunteer across districts and help each other out. I know that it's amazing work that these folks do, and the way that they all depend on each other is amazing, but we also need to figure out how we can continue to make sure they have the resources they need year-round. Thank you.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Representative Judah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and please note to our rural districts, my prayers are with you. So I have the distinct honor of welcoming another group today. Today is Refugee Advocates Day and Colorado Refugee Advocates Day, and we are welcomed by many individuals and organizations participating in Refugee Advocacy Day, including, and if you guys can stand up in the gallery, Village Exchange Center, Project Worthmore, African Community Center, International Rescue Committee, and the Anglican Village. So if we can welcome this amazing group of advocates today. So today is the opportunity for new Americans to learn about the legislative process and share information with our legislators about refugees and the refugee resettlement in Colorado. Since the U.S. Refugee Act was signed in 1980, Colorado has welcomed more than 60,000 refugees, including my parents. Refugees and other new Americans are an important part of Colorado's past, present, and future. They are our neighbors, teachers, doctors, essential workers, and so much more. Refugees who have found safety in Colorado have contributed to our state's economic, cultural, and social vibrancy and continue to be a vital part of our shared success and prosperity. Today, we want to celebrate these contributions and share information with our legislators about refugees and new Americans in their communities. They will be getting tours and be outside pretty soon, so I really encourage everyone and welcome everyone to go step out and meet our newest neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Judah, and welcome to the state capitol. I hope you have a wonderful day. Representative Will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
Honor to serve with you too, Representative Will.
I'm back by popular demand. I know yesterday people wanted an encore, so they're going to get it. So I need the Capitol Choir to come down, please. We have a birthday.
Come on down, Capitol Choir. This is exciting. This is the moment where I'm like, whose birthday is it? Maybe I know.
Okay, start lower. Yeah.
Way lower.
Way lower.
And who are we singing to today?
So this is Representative Pelton's birthday today. So happy birthday, Rep. Pelton. Rep. Pelton and I was born in the same county. So ready? A 1 and a 2 and a 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rod Pelton. Happy birthday to you. May the dear Lord bless you, shower graces on you. May the dear Lord bless you, Rod Pelton. May the dear Lord bless you.
Any other announcements or introductions? Seeing none, the next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title too. Oh, Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lay over Senate Bill 9 until Thursday, April 14th.
Seeing no objection, Senate Bill 9 will be laid over until Thursday, April 14th. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1306.
House Bill 1306 by Representatives Titone and Baisley, also Senators Bridges and Priola, concerning broadband deployment grant processes implemented by the Broadband Deployment Board.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1306 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1306 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Luck, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Luck votes no. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Please close the machine. With 59 aye votes, 5 no votes, and 1 excuse, House Bill 1306 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1282.
House Bill 1282 by Representatives Mullica and Lynch, also Senators Bridges and Woodward, concerning the creation of the Innovative Housing Incentive Program.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1282 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1282 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Luck, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Luck votes no. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Please close the machine. With 45 aye votes, 19 no votes, and 1 excuse, House Bill 1282 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1316.
House Bill 1316 by Representatives McCormick and Catlin, also Senators Donovan and Simpson, concerning the funding of Colorado Water Conservation Board projects and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1316 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1316 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Luck, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Luck votes no. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Tipper. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 2 no votes, and 1 excuse, House Bill 1316 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Michelson Janae, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read reports of committees of reference.
Committee on Health and Insurance, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1296 be amended as followed and as so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation. Committee on Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1259 is amended, 1354 is amended, 1258 is amended, Senate Bill 97 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. House Bill 1320 be amended as followed and as so amended be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Shebel. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the following bills be made special orders today, Wednesday, April 13th at 9:37 a.m. House Bill 1120, House Bill 1243, House Bill 1296.
See no objection. The bills outlined by the Majority Leader today, Wednesday, April 13th at 9:37 a.m. will be made special orders. Representative Kennedy. Seeing no objection, members, you have heard the motion. Representative Kennedy will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there's a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon the motion of the majority leader, and the coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1120.
House Bill 1120 by Representatives Van Winkle and Neville concerning the creation of the School Security Disbursement Program to provide funding for local education providers to implement school security improvements to prevent incidents of school violence.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1120 and the committee report.
To the committee report.
And
Representative Van Winkle.
It was a good committee, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it seems there's not much discussion on the Education Committee report. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of adopting the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this is a renewal of something that we did probably 3 years ago. We created the School Security Disbursement Grant Program that goes towards things like training for resource officers, even building improvements like maybe tempered glass or new camera systems. And then one of the things we did that we didn't do 3 years ago that we added in this bill before you today is we also added the grant money can be used for resiliency training programs. There's a lot of different types of these. In the committee, we actually had Craig Scott come and talk about how he does this resiliency program that teaches students basically the tools they need mentally to face tough things that they face. And he's had a great success. And so we wanted to open up to that as well. And that's what the bill does. The bill sunsetted because I demanded that there was a sunset in there, and we didn't get back to during the COVID to renewing it. And so this time we're just extending the bill without the sunset.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is honestly one of the most important bills I think that will pass this year, members, because this program was tremendously successful. Started by Speaker Garnett and Representative Neville a couple of years ago. $30 million was allocated to it, and actually, in a very short amount of time, over $60 million in requests came in, and these were very urgent things that our schools and teachers and parents were asking for. Like Representative Neville said, it's things like cameras and tempered glass training, that folks like in Jefferson County doing tremendous training for our teachers and students and folks in the school. But really, these are things that schools absolutely need, and they're requesting of us to help them out. So we, the state of Colorado, will come in and make sure that there are no gaps in school security and provide a grant program that goes through the Department of Public Safety to make sure that there are no needs unfulfilled when it comes to school security for our schools, for our students.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Members, some of you may not have been here when this bill first came through the House of Representatives, but I want to tell you that in my district, in my hometown, this bill, this law worked. The middle school that my wife worked at was immediately put in safety glass, all of the control at the front door, all of those kind of things. You could see it happening in your community. You may have even seen some of those programs being put into place before you got elected and thought, that's good, we're doing the right things. They came from this bill. So if you have any hesitation on this piece of legislation, take a look at your schools at home and you will see that this piece of legislation is the one that got them to this level. Now we need to keep them and start moving out further. Anyway, this is a good bill. Vote yes.
Representative Van Beber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise in support of this bill as well as somebody who's taught in over, I'm going to say at least 300 different schools throughout the nation and been in schools around the world. It's this kind of bill that is directly impactful for educators like me who walk into a building and want to know that this is a safe place for both us as educators and for our students, most importantly. And so I want to thank the bill sponsors for bringing something like this forward. This is incredibly necessary, and it's unfortunate in today's world that it is necessary. And I also want to thank you for the resiliency piece and bringing that to committee. But I rise in support of this, and I can't imagine why anybody would also not support this bill. So please vote yes.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1120 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill passes. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1243.
House Bill 1243 by Representatives Exum and Van Winkle, also Senators Colker and Henriksen, concerning programs that provide funding to improve school safety and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1243 and the
good one.
appropriations and the, do we have a committee report?
Yep. Just appropriations.
Just appropriations report.
Okay, to the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was a couple amendments that were put on in the Appropriations Committee report regarding the iMatters program, L002 and J002, to clarify the funding mechanism, and we ask for an aye vote on the committee report.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And members, you'll sense a trend happening here because the bill that just passed before us and this bill, they go hand in hand. One bill cannot pass without the other, and there is funding in this bill for the bill that just passed previously. I asked for a yes vote on the committee report. Like I said, it provides the funding for the grant program that we just heard about, and it also harmonizes the two bills to work hand in hand together.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill. Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members. After the terrible STEM shooting in 2019, myself, Michael Sejourné, a team of members from the body, we got together. There's Daphne. Hi. We got together and we set out on a mission. And our mission was to set aside all politics, set aside all bias, and we set aside to honor our hero Kendrick. Other heroes like Emily Keyes, and other heroes like my friend from church when I was young, Rachel, and of course many others. We set out to do everything possible to prevent any more school violence so that kids could be kids and learn in a safe environment, and parents didn't have to live in fear for simply sending their kids to school in the morning. Representative Michelson Janae deserves tremendous credit for her work, and you may not see her name on this bill, but her fingerprints are here, and a lot of the work we've done in the past is in the bill. We took actually hundreds of hours in the summer of 2019, both in committee and outside of committee, and looked through everything that had been done since Columbine and dug deep in to find out what was working and what wasn't. Because there were things that were well-intentioned, but it didn't harmonize with the other bills that had passed in that great amount of time that had passed since the Columbine shooting and the other events that had happened and other bills that had happened in the meantime. But that brings us to House Bill 1243, and I'm honored today to be working with Representative Exum very closely on this effort to take school safety to the next level. This bill does essentially three big things, and like I said, they've been a long time coming. First, it continues a program that has been proven very successful since the STEM shooting. We have had been fundamentally rethinking school safety to not just include the physical safety and faster emergency response, but on the flip side, preventive measures, especially in the area of social, emotional, and mental needs of our Colorado's young people. As you probably know, Coloradans are under extraordinary stress right now, especially our kids. And today in our state, suicide is the leading cause of death for children ages 10 to 24, and 17% of our kids have had self-reported to helpers seriously considering suicide in the last year. House Bill 1243 continues the program started last year to pair a child and their parent, which is very important to have parental involvement, to a healthcare professional outside the school, regardless of their ability to pay. The bill was actually so successful, the shortage is not in kids seeking help or being able to utilize the tremendous technology that enables that, but rather the need for high-quality medical healthcare professionals. Secondly, the bill continues the behavioral health professionals grant matching program, and I'm sorry to go on, this a rather big bill. And then the final thing, of course, is the bill that we just heard previously, which is tremendously important and provides the essential funding for House Bill 1120, which is $6 million to fund specific and necessary emergency updates for our school system. My apologies, Representative Exum, for talking so long, but it's such an honor to be with you on this bill.
Absolutely.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank Representative Van Winkle for his work, and I also want to acknowledge Representative Michaelson Janae, and again, thank you for your passion and for your work toward keeping our kids safe and their mental health welfare. Just a couple of things I want to reiterate. The iMatters program provides 3 behavioral health visits. Currently, the program is set to be funded until June 30th, 2022, but the funding in this bill, the program will be able to be extended and serve more students who need the access for these important behavioral health resources. Youth from 44 counties from around the state have signed up for the iMatters program and has provided 1,300 therapy sessions for youth who are in need of mental health support. Importantly, these services are free of charge and provide youth with an accessible and easy way to receive the help they need. Our students are in a crisis, especially even before COVID and after COVID. And this bill, continuing this funding and the programs that's going to make support available for these students is very vital. And we ask for your support for 1243. Thank you.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I also encourage a yes one on this bill as well. So the bill that we just passed doesn't actually have the funding stream to do all the great things in there. This one actually does. And so I want to thank Representative Van Winkle for working on both bills, and then also Representative Exum for working on this one specifically. Another thing that we didn't mention, that I didn't mention in the previous bill, is this is also provides funding for the DeAngelo Center. It does some great things on actually training police officers on how to respond to a situation. We learned a lot of lessons on what not to do after Columbine, and the DeAngelo Center makes sure that we train officers that are responding to the situation how to not make the same mistakes that were made at Columbine, and saves lots of lives. So again, thanks for bringing this bill, and I encourage a yes on it as well.
Representative Bacon.
I just wanted to also add some insights and thank the sponsors for their approach on this bill. I've done a lot of work, particularly in not only being an administrator, but securing schools. And so on the school to prison pipeline side of this conversation, the insights into this bill is really important to acknowledge that public safety also means that kids feel welcomed at school, and that they feel that safety means a little bit more than walking into environments that emulate prisons. And so we had deep conversations on the use, for example, of metal detectors, which by all accounts, those who do school security, particularly in K-12, says doesn't actually work. It just means that people find other doors. And so we thought about different technologies, everything from access cards, vestibules, halo cameras. We also talked about being able to have mental health and social work support, and being able to have portals and people to talk to in confidence to be able to identify folks who may need help or any sort of behaviors that presents as community harm or suicidal ideation, because what we've learned in the last 10 years is that the way that we can prevent these losses is by supporting the people or identifying some of the people who may want to harm community. And so in support of Representative Exum as well as Neville and Van Winkle in this conversation, I just wanted to add that lens and say that we also support the bill, and I also support the bill.
Representative Van Beber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm back up here to rise in support of this bill in conjunction with the last bill. As an educator, again, with over 20 years of experience in our nation's classrooms, when a youth is seeking support for a problem that they have, 90 days is too long to wait. 60 days is too long to wait. Sometimes 6 hours or even 6 minutes is too long to wait. And so these are the kinds of bills that allow our youth to have an opportunity to seek the assistance that they need for emotional support and help in order to cope with the kinds of issues that are facing them in today's world. Furthermore, when I think about a bill that would support our staff and our students in their ability to be resilient in our educational system, and I think about the boots on the ground feedback that we get from community health services. We're being told right now, if you are a family or a youth in need of emotional support services in your community, the wait is as much as 90 days right now where I live. That is too long. Leaving that building to seek help sometimes is the barrier to receiving the kind of support that students need. So having this kind of functionality for services in our schools is so essential. And so I will continue to encourage you to support this bill, support the funding mechanism, support the safety in our schools, both on the physical side as well as on the problem-solving, decision-making, and emotional side of helping our youth be their very best.
Seeing no further discussion, Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I want to make sure that there's time allowed for a potential amendment that is coming here. But it is such an important topic. It's one of those things that has, when there's a school shooting or there's a school incident, when there's domestic terrorism, these bills, they become very important. They become like a headliner for the entire body, and they become some of the biggest bills that we pass every year. Unfortunately, when there are years in our great state in between incidences, the legislature oftentimes will drop the ball, so to speak, and assume everything is just perfectly fine. Members, everything is not perfectly fine in our schools today. Everything is not perfectly fine with the mental health and well-being of our students. The COVID shutdown specifically put our youth through tremendous. Did you get it? Okay. Sorry. The COVID shutdown specifically put our youth in isolation, and it knocked them off from everything, all their support groups. And coming out of that, I am so very thankful and grateful that we haven't had a very serious, deadly incident in our schools, but it is something that we as a body need to be focused on, especially years after a crisis such as that happened at STEM with the great hero Kendrick Castillo. And so I will stop talking now and allow someone else to talk.
Representative Geithner, Mr. Assistant Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I want to thank the sponsors for bringing forward the bill. I think there are certainly times when a youth, certainly times when an adult may experience something where they need to actually seek the services of a mental health provider. And we can't account for all of them. And some instances may be rather grave and immediate. Some may be able to be, dealt with in, with a little bit more time or a little bit more latitude. But I think that one part of this that is certainly essential is the role of the parent or the legal guardian in this. And oftentimes being there to kind of walk the path with their child is definitely an important piece of this. And so with that, I move L005 and I ask that it be displayed.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so, members, what this does is it does require notification to the parent in order for reimbursement. In fact, it does say parent or legal guardian. I had to tweak that a little bit because we only had parent in there, but obviously not all of our youth are certainly living with their parent. Instead, some are just living with or residing with their legal guardian. So the idea here is that there is notification to the parent for reimbursement to happen. And so, members, I would ask for your support with L005.
The committee will stand in a brief recess to look at whether this fits under the title. The committee will come back to order. After considerable discussion, it's my ruling that this amendment does not fit under the title or the original purpose of the bill. We're back to the bill. Representative Geithner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I still have the same concern that I addressed earlier. And with that, I think I move L004 and I ask that it be displayed.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so, members, there was some discussion that had to do with L005. L005, the one that was just ruled that it didn't fit under the title, had to do with reimbursement for funding. The difference here is that this doesn't require, it does not have that language in there. And I'll read it just so that it's on the record for everyone that's tuning in. I'm sure we have millions. But notwithstanding any state law to the contrary, notify the parent of a youth, including a youth who is 12 years of age or older, that the youth has scheduled an appointment with a provider through the portal. So there is no emphasis here placed on the idea of the funding mechanism. It is strictly just a notification, and I would urge a yes vote on L004.
Representative Geithner, I think that this is very similar in substance to the last amendment that I ruled that did not fit under the title, so I make the same ruling here. Amendment L4 does not fit under the title. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1243? Seeing none, the question before Representative Geithner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, let's try for the third time then. I move L008 and I ask that it be displayed.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So L008 has the struck language that was in the first amendment that I attempted to run. This has that put back in there, which has a piece to maintain client confidentiality. I would urge a yes vote on L008.
Representative Geithner, I do think this is very similar. We will take a brief recess so you can, again, make your case on why you think this fits under the title. committee will come back to order. Once again, after considerable discussion, I think that this is very much in a gray area where I do have concerns about whether it fits under the title, but I have agreed to Representative Geithner that I will let it go to a vote. So for the time being, we will rule that it fits under the title. Representative Geithner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. And members, just to emphasize this point again, so the iMatter program, if you aren't familiar with it, I actually went online and spent some time with it. There is a delineation between 11 and younger and 12 and up. This amendment simply addresses the 12 and up. That's the idea here. When the bill was presented in committee, I did ask the question about parental notification very specifically, and that is on the record in committee, and I was told by the sponsors that actually part of this process is that it is a requirement for insurance information to be submitted. Insurance information is obviously something that an adult would have, not necessarily that a youth would maintain. Therefore, the idea here is that because it is billed through the insurance and then there is reimbursement from the state, that's why there is the need for the parental notification as well. So on 2 points alone, but that's the idea of this amendment, and I would encourage a yes vote.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think the amendment is finely drafted. I think it's okay. It speaks to an issue that is very important, which is a parental involvement. It may not be a necessary amendment just because the parental involvement, I don't think it actually changes the way the program works right now, because the way the program works right now is any student, anyone under the age of 18 who doesn't have their own insurance, they're on their parents' insurance, that parent will be notified right away, and their insurance, because they're the holder of the insurance. And then what the state does is it reimburses the insurance so that there's no cost to the family or the student whatsoever. It's an artfully crafted amendment in the sense that it doesn't preclude the problem we've had of putting something into laws, because what we don't want to stop is a situation where there's a student, 13, 14, 15-year-old, who's thinking of harming themselves or harming others and going on to iMatter, and we need to connect them as soon as possible with a healthcare provider. This doesn't seem to preclude that, which is fine, but also it may not be necessary because it essentially is just working with how the program works right now, which is the parent is notified, because a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old won't be on a separate insurance than their parents, so the parent is notified. One thing we're talking about here is the iMatter program, but there's two different things happening, which is the iMatter program fits underneath the laws of the state of Colorado regarding parental notification for anything, as in even bumps and even getting stitches from a medical provider, getting a COVID vaccine, anything from a medical provider in the state of Colorado is mental or physical, is governed by the parental notification laws. iMatter, and it's just the topic of the day right now, but iMatter has to follow those higher overarching parental notification laws of the state of Colorado. Now, we may need to look at those parental notification laws, and I think there may be a need for a bill to do that very thing, given some of the things we found out in our schools recently. But targeting the iMatter program and having that possibly be separate from the overarching laws of parental notification when it comes, especially, may not be quite a fair assessment of the iMatter program, because really what this program does, and kind of bring it full circle here, is it does provide that emergency care for a student who is thinking of harming themselves or harming others, and this is a very serious issue in the people in Colorado right now, as we are one of the leading states of suicide and violence among students. It gets in that gap very quickly, so a student who might be thinking of harming themselves or other can get that doctor's appointment, usually through their cell phone or something, where they can talk to a medical professional and back themselves down, calm themselves down, and rethink a potentially life-threatening and life-changing decision that could harm themselves or others. So, long story short, I think the amendment's fine. It may be unnecessary because the program largely already does this anyway. And thank you, Representative Geithner.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've asked for a no vote on this amendment. There's no insurance required under the iMatters program. there's emergency situations involved where no consent is needed, and ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Seeing no further, Representative Geithner.
So there are two categories, members. There is the 11 and younger. The 11 and younger, it specifically does ask for insurance providers, ask for insurance information, ask for parents' information. Once you get to 12, none of that is necessary. The child is then provided a list of providers on the economy to go ahead and schedule their appointment through. There is a clear delineation for 11 and younger and 12 and up. There is parental notification at 11 and younger. There is not for 12 and up. This amendment clarifies that ambiguity that exists currently in the iMatter program, and it makes it so that there is parental notification specifically as it pertains through insurance. It makes it consistent with how the program operates from 11 and younger so that it is consistent with 12 and up. I would urge a yes vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L8. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no? The noes have it. The amendment fails. Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1243 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no? The ayes have it, and the bill passes. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1296.
House Bill 1296 by Representatives Mullica and Van Winkle, also Senator Priola, concerning the definition of a nursing home for purposes of the residential real property classification.
Representative Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, it's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1296 in the Health and Insurance Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the committee, we ran one amendment, just some clarifying language that the assessors asked us to run. It was technical in nature, and I ask for a yes vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of the Health and Insurance Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no? The ayes have it, and the committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, I want to thank my co-sponsor here. I know it's the Representative Van Winkle Day. This is the third bill up of his, so it probably deserves an applause, even though it's out of order here in the chamber. But this bill is a good bill. It's a bill that really gives our assessors the direction that they've asked for in regards to taxing nursing homes. There have already been court cases out of La Plata County and Adams County stating what we're trying to do here, and really what it's doing is making sure they're being assessed from a residential standpoint, which saves money and makes sure that we are keeping the cost of health care down and making sure that these places are being taxed as residential because these are these people's homes. And so I ask for a yes vote.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Mullica. Yeah, I won't go into great detail. Essentially, a nursing home is just that. It's a home, especially for a senior who is living there, and it treats all nursing homes the same. What happened was a few years ago, there were a few, we'll call them rogue counties, that started essentially targeting certain nursing homes and changing them from a residential rate to a commercial rate. And I know we heard from one that it changed their taxing for the year from $350,000 to $1.4 million. Ultimately, it just treats all, this bill will make sure that all nursing homes are treated the same and that our parents and grandparents are protected from incorrect taxation and overtaxation. So I urge a yes vote.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I also urge a yes vote based on the merits of the bill, but mostly because I want to support the Van Winkle hat trick.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1296 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no? The ayes have it, and the bill passes. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
House will come to order. Mr. Shebel, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report as under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof and making the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1120 as amended, House Bill 1243 as amended, 1296 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Representative Kennedy.
Mr. Speaker, I move the House now adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Members, you have heard the motion. There is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Shebel, please read the Geithner Amendment, which is L008 to House Bill 1243 to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Geithner moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Geithner Amendment L8 to House Bill 1243 to show that said amendment passed and that House Bill 1243 as amended passed.
Representative Geithner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the Geithner Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report.
It has been moved, and we'll wait 1 second for it to be displayed. And it's properly displayed. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And so, members, the idea here of L008 has to do directly with parental notification, specifically for 12 and up. The iMatter program, looking at it here, it does ask for various insurance agencies, Aetna, Blue Cross, Bright Health, CHP Plus, Cigna, Humana, Kaiser, Medicaid, none. Rocky Mountain Health Plans, United Healthcare. So there is a survey that is required to be filled out. However, if you are 12 and up, you can still be directed to providers even without the parental notification. So there is a direct piece to a parent's insurance as it pertains to the iMatter program. Specifically, I'm looking at it right here, and I just read you the name of the insurance providers. The concern that a lot of parents have is that they are being cut out of this process if the child is 12 or older. And there are those that see this as a direct attack of the role of the parent as it pertains, or the legal guardian, as it pertains to a matter of crisis when a child is going through something and in need of mental health. This doesn't prevent the child from getting the mental health. It's very specific that there is notification to the parent or legal guardian once there has been a request for an appointment. It is very specific. It is consistent with the notification to parents that would happen at 11 and younger. So there is absolutely no change to the program. This does not impact funding or anything else in the extent that notification isn't provided. That's the goal here. The goal here is to ensure that the parent is aware of what is going on so that they can help their child, or the legal guardian can help their child through the crisis that they may be going through. And so I would urge a yes vote.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm fine with the amendment, but it's just not fair to say that parents are being cut out of the process, because that's not true. The only time a parent wouldn't be notified ahead of time is if there's a serious, immediate threat to life, which is a child getting on the iMatter program and saying, I think I'm going to hurt myself, or tonight, or hurt someone else, perhaps in the morning. At that point, the iMatter program connects them immediately with a trained mental health care provider to make sure that that child thinks twice before they hurt themselves and can get the assistance they need. But parents are heavily involved. That was a very important point to the bill that was passed several years ago, and they are heavily involved not only through the traditional means, but through the insurance process, which is built in, because a parent has to be notified before an insurance is charged, and then the state reimburses the insurance. But also, I had one more point, and Mr. Chair, I'm hoping my co-sponsor can help me out here, but essentially the program, this wouldn't change necessarily how the program operates dramatically, but is also largely unnecessary. But, I remember now, as I can continue talking forever and remember my points. My apologies, body. But what we're talking about here is there are overarching laws that govern all parental notification, and that's for medical instances. Even if if a kid's hurt at a soccer game and they're in that 12 and up group, or they're having a mental breakdown or something, there's overarching parental notification laws in the state of Colorado that govern everything when it comes to treating a youth in Colorado. And iMatter is simply following those laws. It's not something special to the iMatter program or separate from the rest of anything that would happen, perhaps even getting a concussion on a soccer field or something. So vote your conscience on this. And thank you, Representative Geithner. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Representative Geithner and Representative Van Winkle. The program follows all current laws about consent in this state, and there's no reason to take away a youth's right to confidentiality counseling. The program refers to crisis hotline as if the child just called the crisis hotline, and emergencies are handled exactly the same as they have been, just with more efficiency. So I ask for a no vote on this Cal amendment. Thank you.
Assistant Minority Leader Geithner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And so the amendment does speak to the confidentiality, so I made sure that was maintained. But I will read this to you from the iMatter. It specifically says, if you know and are willing to share with health insurance if you know and are willing to share what health insurance you have, please select it below. Your insurance will not be billed or contacted for the first 6 sessions. That's why at the age of 11 to 12, there is the delineation of the parental information in the application for services rendered through iMatter. There is no parental notification for 12 and up. It is very clear. That's why it lays out the insurance companies, and one of them is even none. Again, your insurance will not be billed or contacted for the first 6 free sessions. So if your insurance company is not billed or contacted, there is no parental notification without L008. I asked for a yes on L008. It is important that parents have a role when it comes to the students' mental health issues that their child may be going through. This is consistent with parental notification, which is there for 11, but not beyond. So I would ask for a yes vote so that we are making sure that parents have a role in this. Absent this amendment, the parent is not part of this if your child is 12 and up.
Is there any further discussion on the Geithner Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Geithner Amendment L008 to House Bill 1243. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Michelson Janae votes no. Please close the machine. With 25 aye votes, 38 no votes, and 2 excused, the Geithner Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Please close the machine. With 41 aye votes, 22 no votes, and 2 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to proceed out of order for immediate consideration of Senate amendments to House bills.
Seeing no objection, we will proceed out of order for immediate consideration of House bills. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1093.
House Bill 1093 by Representatives McCormick and Will, also Senators Smallwood and Zenzinger, concerning the conduct of charitable gaming activity and in connection therewith modernizing the bingo and raffles law to accommodate the use of improved electronic aids and devices in the conduct of games of chance and making an appropriation.
Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to wait for Representative Will.
Concur.
I move to concur with the Senate amendments to House Bill 1093.
That is a proper motion. Would you like to explain?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Senate added the word paper because they wanted the word paper in there. So I guess we'll let them do that.
Yeah,
Pretty much it.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you sure?
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of Senate amendments to House Bill 1093. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Please close the machine. With 58 aye votes, 5 no votes, and 2 excused, the motion to concur with Senate amendments to House bills is House Bill 1093 is adopted. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1093 as amended.
The question before us is the repassage of House Bill 1093 as amended. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Please close the machine. With 54 aye votes, 9 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1093 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1340.
House Bill 1340 by Representatives Harrod and McCluskey, also Senators Hansen and Zenzinger, concerning capital-related transfers of money.
Representative McCluskey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House not concur with the Senate amendments and that a conference committee be appointed and, with permission, we go beyond the scope of the differences between the House and the Senate.
Minority Leader McKean.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I believe the words you were looking for are "and adhere to our position," because that means we're right. And we know we're right. The words you want are "and adhere to our position." Is that correct?
Representative McCluskey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, it is not correct, Mr. Minority
I thought
Leader.
today was the day.
I'm too collaborative in spirit to adhere.
I say we stand for our decisions.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is not to concur with Senate amendments and a conference committee be appointed. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote with the power to go beyond the scope. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Michelson Janae, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Michelson Janae votes yes. Please close the machine. With 38 aye votes, 25 no votes, and 2 excused, the motion to not concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1314 and go beyond the scope with the conference committee is adopted. The conferees will be Representative Ransom, Representative Harrod, Representative McCluskey, Chair. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, April 14th.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until Thursday, April 14th. That brings us to announcements and introductions. Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Business Affairs and Labor Committee, we are meeting upon adjournment. Let's call it 11 o'clock. So you've got 15 minutes. We'll start at 11 o'clock sharp. We have 2 bills on the calendar, House Bill 1347 and then Senate Bill 157. See you there.
Representative Pelton, happy birthday.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been granted permission by the minority and the majority leaders to be excused Monday.
Have a great Monday. Representative McCluskey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, Conference Committee is meeting this afternoon at 2:30 for the Long Bill 1329 and House Bill 1340.
Representative Kipp and Representative Basenicker.
Yeah, thanks. I guess we missed our students when we made the announcement earlier, but we wanted to welcome our students from Liberty Common to the House. Thank you for being here. They're one of our schools up in Fort Collins. So welcome. If you guys would like to stand, we can recognize you. Thank you.
It's quite the turnout. Everyone's looking very sharp, too. Hope you have a wonderful day at the Capitol. Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. That is the sound of Sanka coffee about to happen in this chamber. We need money. Coffee isn't free. And if you have a tumbler, one of those big, tall tumblers, you know what I'm talking about. You know who you are. That's double. We need the money. Don't forget, coffee's not free.
Representative Lynch. Members, we have a tribute. Please direct your attention to the well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's an honor to serve with you even till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Honor to serve with you too, Representative Lynch.
Yeah. State of Colorado, the House of Representatives convened in the 73rd General Assembly hereby extends congratulations to Liberty Common High School. On this day, the members of the Colorado House of Representatives are pleased and proud to honor Liberty Common High School's outstanding achievements during the 2021-22 academic year. The graduating class of 2022 produced an incredible 1301.5 composite on the SAT score, the highest of all Colorado public schools. The determination and adaptability of Liberty's students and this cohort of seniors in particular not only shows their meritorious intellectual strength, it also demonstrates the overall success of the charter school's educational program. Liberty Common's excellent student performance is a testament to the quality of education and hard work of the students, instructors, and staff. The Colorado House of Representatives extends respect and congratulations to Liberty Common High School on their excellent academic success. On the request of Representative Mike Lynch, given this 13th day of April 2022, the State Capitol, Denver.
Thank you, Representative Lynch.
Hold on.
Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would also like to recognize Congressman Bob Schaefer, who's joining those guys today. Representative Schaefer. One last thing.
Representative Lynch.
And one last thing. My son, who attends Liberty Common High School, is taking the SAT today. So say a little prayer. Thank you.
Minority Leader McKean.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. So, Congressman Schaefer, I know what you'd like to hear is congratulations on having the highest performing school in the state, because I get to hear that from you a lot. But what I would tell you is not just congratulations, but someone was missing from this. And that's the parents of all these students who actually make sure that they are pursuing the best education their kids can get. That's a big deal, and it's the biggest partner we have are the parents of all of these kids. So let's hear it for parents.
Have a wonderful day at the Capitol. Any further announcement or introductions? Seeing none, Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.